Dante's Divine Comedy, Inferno, Canto the Sixth.
They went to the next circle down, and there was King Minos, who was telling everybody which level they should go to after they confessed all their sins to him. And then he went to the one level where all of the people who had sinned with love and passion and lust, he interviewed some people there and then passed out.
The canto does not clear up when he wakes up, but eventually they make it to the third circle. This circle, there is a constant torrent of rain and huge hailstones and dirty rain and black snow coming down from the sky, mixing down on the ground where everyone's walking. Cerberus is here.
A three-headed dog, Cerberus.
The way Dante describes him, it's not clear that he's a dog. He's described as dog-like.
Oh.
He does seem to have 3 heads. He does have red eyes as well.
Okay.
It looks like something's torn his chest at some point, which is foreshadowing for something we'll learn about later.
I want to picture each of his heads as different celebrities. One of them would absolutely be Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Another one would be probably Ryan Reynolds. And the third one would probably be Chris Pratt.
I would tone down celebrities' tendency to be attractive. This would be those 3 people if they had, hadn't eaten in days and, hadn't been taking care of their faces and looked all haggard.
So maybe instead of Dwayne The Rock Johnson, starved Kevin Hart and gaunt Ryan Gosling instead of Ryan Reynolds. Instead of Chris Pratt, we're going to go with Abraham Lincoln because he already looks gaunt.
He's probably got a good beard for it, too. Cerberus is running around in this lair, scratching and biting people and just tearing them up. Meanwhile, these people who are obviously trying to stay out of his way and not get clawed and bitten by him are trying to get in as deep of this snow and rain and slush and mud as they can. But no matter how hard they try, Cerberus eventually comes along and scratches them up and bites them and tears them up.
This layer is for what kind of people?
Gluttony.
Gluttony. They're being chased by this wolf beast creature, and now instead of being the gluttonous people who just want to consume, they're being consumed.
Cerberus is going around
as
eating
prey,
them,
hunted prey. That's interesting. Fascinating.
Cerberus sees them, and he starts running towards them. In fact, it says in the translation, no limb of his was still. It's very clear that this isn't going to be one of those monsters where it's going to say, mission from God, let us through.
Right,
He's
animalistic.
Bestial. Yes. What he does instead is he scoops up some of this slush and mud that's on the ground, hurls it into his throat. Cerberus falls over and starts choking on the ground, and they quickly walk past as fast as they can before he recovers. There's all these people lie down in the slush and the mud. One of them suddenly sits up and looks over at Dante, and he says, hey, you guys are alive. And he asks Dante if he recognizes him. He's like, you were born before I died. We were in the living world at the same time. Do you recognize me? Dante's like, you don't look very familiar. No, but I think it's because the pain of being in hell has disfigured your face so much. This guy's unrecognizable.
Wow. I'm picturing him looking like Gollum.
He tells him that they're from the same town, and in life, the citizens of the town they were in nicknamed him the Pig because of how gluttonous he was. Dante's like, dude, that sucks, and I'm so sorry you gotta be here, but do you have a second to talk about politics?
Okay.
And he actually starts asking him about the politics of the town they're both from. Dante's town is super divided at the moment. There's warring political factions. And he asks if there are going to be any honest men sometime in the future, or if the whole city will just tear itself apart. Apparently, the dead can see somewhat into the future.
Oh, wow.
So the Pig delivers the first prophecy, which we'll see a few of. And this prophecy did come true because the book is set 20 years before it was published. So Dante just describes stuff that happens after the story, but before right now. It'd be like if I wrote a story about me in 2010 and I'd walked up to a guy and he prophesied that Donald Trump would be elected president.
This is bizarre. Just it seems like there's a lot of new concepts being unloaded very fast on Dante. Oh yeah, this is what the afterlife looks like. Yeah, your wife's in heaven and she sent for you, and we're on a mission from God. Oh, and also a lot of Greek mythological characters are real. Oh, and here's a bunch of famous people that you may have known, and also dead people can see the future a little bit. This is kind of a lot to take in for poor Dante.
Yeah. Dante asks him next about certain politicians that he thinks were good men who are now dead, and he asks, are there any chance that you know if they're in heaven or hell and where they are? And the Pig's like, dude, they're all deeper down. They're all in here. They're all on the
I was actually going to ask if there's a special layer just for politicians.
There might be, depending on how you define a politician. The layers here are based on the kinds of sins committed.
Right,
so
okay.
There might be one where more politicians end up than not. He asks next, when you go back, will you please tell people my name? Which clearly he was done because he was written into the book. There are a few spirits that ask this. I'm not quite sure what exactly they think they get from it, but there are a few spirits that ask him, will you please write about me in your book? Will you please write down my name so people will remember me? At this point, he falls back down and just starts laying in the mud again. Virgil tells him that he's not going to get back up until Judgment Day, which makes Dante kind of curious, and he asks, when Judgment Day comes, is the punishment here going to be worse or better or about the same? And Virgil basically says that on Judgment Day, things will become more perfect. And though these people here will never reach true perfection, they will be made more perfect, which means pleasure will be made more perfect, but so will pain. In a roundabout way, he's saying, yes, their punishment will increase, but it's because they will be becoming more perfect, which means their pain will also become more perfect. At this point, they reach the edge of the layer they're on. The very last line is, and then we ran into Plutus, and it ends.
Who's Plutus?
Don't know, you'll have to find out next time.
Oh, okay.
It's a cliffhanger.
Interesting.
And that's the end of Canto 6.
Interesting.